Hey y'all, it's Trinity. All right, today I just wanted to do a little talk. I wanted to talk about generational curses. All right, I'm gonna start off with one inner peace card though. Yeah, I'm gonna do one inner peace card, and then I'm gonna do one empowering question. Then I'm gonna go ahead and get into the message. All right, so let's start off here. Um, One inner peace card. Take a deep breath and let your fucks go. Who needs to give one when you can release them all? Period. That's beautiful for the message, all right? So is this something that you care about like way too much? They could be like stagnating you from moving forward, weighing you down. Something weighing on your heart, all right? What are my best qualities? So go ahead and think about that today, all right? Is there something that you're like worried about, like you care way too much about? And yeah, what kind of feelings am I feeling right now? What kind of metaphors can I find to describe my feelings? Acknowledge your best qualities. And I'm glad those cards came out because today we're talking about generational curses. All right, what is a generational curse? A generational curse is an ancestral sin or fault. It doctrines the individual's inherit judgments for the sin of our ancestors. So basically, a generational curse, something that you've seen your parents do over and over again, or a way that they've acted or something that they've done, like, and you could like sit down and actually recognize something that they're doing that's causing a blockage with the rest of the family. All right, so examples of a generational curse: living the exact way your parents did, working too hard, not considering other people's feelings, not teaching children life skills. All right, these are all curses. Basically, if you seen your mother grow up to be a crook and a thief, right, and she took you out to steal, and that was her thing, or you watch your father rob and kill to make money, so that became your thing. That's a curse, right? Because you're able to like see what they're doing is wrong. People know right from wrong all the time. I mean, you're able to recognize when something is right and something is wrong. And if you know something is wrong and you do the same thing that your parents did, that's a curse. It's wrong. All right. So basically, following through with that curse, it stagnates you moving forward. And there's a theory that the sins of our parents fall on our children, which I do believe to be true, because there are certain things that we've seen our parents do in some way, shape, or form. It has like affected us one way or another. But when the child is unaware of the parent's sin or the fault, the curse, they're not normally held accountable. But it's like once you recognize what you're doing is wrong, or you're able to identify that's not the way you're supposed to carry yourself and act, that's when you become accountable. So be compassionate and gracious, slow to anger, acting in loving, kind ways, and being truthful. Always speak your truth. All right. Breaking curses. Become self-aware of destructive patterns. All right. So say if you're a masculine and you go out and you sleep around and you make many babies, but you don't have the money to provide for those babies, right? The way to break that curse is if you have a sex addiction, maybe you can go and talk to somebody about it, or maybe you can wear protection while you're sleeping with these women so you won't make any more babies. Or if you get high and drunk, masculine or feminines, and you make goofy mistakes when you're under the influence, that would either cause you to slow up what you're doing or stop altogether, right? These are ways how to break generational curses. Accountability. What role did I play in me acting the way I did? How did I become a part of this curse? Let me become accountable. We can't always blame people around us, or I learned this from my mom and dad, I can't change, or I've been operating like this for so long. How can I shift in this direction? Accountability is like, okay, this is the role that I played, and I know what I did was wrong. How can I fix my mistakes moving forward? All right. Study your family's history, health, criminal activities, anything that could become a curse, right? A lot of our parents haven't sat down with us and told us exactly what transpired in their life. They say certain things when we do certain things, like they curse us. If you do this, this is what's going to happen to you. If you do this, this is what's going to happen to you. Instead of sitting down with the child and saying, listen, growing up, I ain't never want to work. So I went out and I robbed and I stole from people and I did this and I did that. And me doing this, I have a long rap sheet. I have a criminal rap sheet of me doing X, Y, and Z. So look, son or daughter, this is how I want you to operate. It would be best if, you go to school or you go study a trade or you find something that you're good at to make yourself an honest way of living, so you can't fall into the patterns that I fell into. Let me tell you some of the things that happened to me while I was doing X, Y, and Z. While I went to jail for 15 years, I wasn't able to find me a good paying job because I got an F on my rap sheet. I never wanted to be married, or I never really wanted to have children, but because I was out there in the streets and I was getting drunk and high, me and your mother had met, and we trauma bonded with sex and drugs, and this is how you guys have been made, and I haven't been right ever since. This is how we break generational curses, having uncomfortable conversations, but what can help us have healthy ways of living. And it's just like it creates like a healthy dialogue, and it's a bond with the parent and the child. And that's why I sit up and I talk to my daughter all the time, because she's 12, she's of age, and I talk about my experiences, because I've been going through life experiences since I was 11 years old. Because it's like we was always in the streets, and my dad was at work, my mom was in the house, and we was always outside, which means I've obtained a lot of experience outside, being around people, certain people, drug dealers and killers and murderers, and having guns pulled out on me, and seeing people die over drugs and territory and things of that nature. These are real life things that we seen. Friends who are jealous, they start rumors and they gossip. And then they come and all of it comes back to you, and you feel insecure and low in spirit because you're around somebody that's betraying you. I talk to my daughter about all of these things because I know how it hurt me. I know how it affected my self-esteem issues. I know how it affected me moving forward. And we don't want our children to experience the same things that we went through, being fast and having sex. And I talked to my daughter how she got here, and and how I was not ready for children and things of that nature. And I don't tell my children that to hurt them. I tell them that because when they get older and they get in those situations, she'll look and she'll say, well, look, I remember my mom was struggling with me and it was hard for her. And I remember seeing her X, Y, and Z in this way. But she's always going to know that I tried to make a way for her. She's going to know that I put my best foot and effort. My mom said this, but I see my mom, she goes out and she does this and she does that. And it's an honest way of living. She lives honestly. She tells me her life experiences, and me being 12 years old, it is maturing me, and I'm able to receive that information. So it's embedded in my subconscious and in my body, so I can move forward and I won't make those mistakes that my mother did, right? And which is sad, because a lot of parents aren't comfortable doing it, because they think if they tell us these things that transpired in their life, we'll look at them differently or we'll judge them. But at the end of the day, it's no longer about you. It's about the child and how you could save the child. Because that's why there's a lot of people walking around doing the same things that their parents did. Because first off, some of their parents are still operating like this. All right. So, make sure the curse stops with you. I've seen this and this and this happen, and I don't want my life to go this way, so I got to reroute this way. Or I see myself, I took on patterns in my mom or my dad, and look, if they still acting in those ways, that means that you got to get away. My mom was a big gossiper, and that kind of embedded in me a little bit, but not really. That's why I'm really rolling groups, because I really don't like gossip. So I really don't roll with people because of that. I don't really like that type of stuff. I know people gossiped about me, and I started getting into the acts of doing those things because this is what people was doing to me. But in these days, I really don't care what people are saying. Which brings me down to the scripture, Proverbs 26:2. When enemies curse us, God will bless us. Nobody could ever put a curse on your life. They can't. All right. Especially if you're one who believes in a higher power and you know that you do the right thing. Nobody can ever curse you or, cause any misfortune in your life. And that's one thing I want to talk about today is everybody should believe in a higher power than themselves. And if you don't, just think about a time that you've done something to have something work in your favor and it didn't go, right? It's because you tried to outsmart the universe, or you tried to, take situations into your own hands. And you got to know it's a higher power. If it's not a higher power, how come everything that you do in hopes of wanting something to go in your favor, like you really go out your way to have something go in your favor and it doesn't? There's a higher power. You're not supposed to have it. You're not supposed to do what you did. And the universe is going to show you why. And then people become upset. Your enemies will never be able to curse you. All right. So how can we break trauma? Start by opening up to loosen the grip of that trauma. All right. So let's say if you heavy set, or say if you're really skinny. I was bullied and I was called this and I was called that. So when I hear people say these things to me, it triggers me to act in a manner, like talk about these things, like things that people do and say to hurt you. How did it make you feel? You got to express these things to people. If you don't, they'll keep on doing the same things. And some people don't find fault with the things that they're doing, right? So you can't really blame people for the things that they do when you never express how you feel when those people do the things that they do. All right. And then I want to get the vulnerability. A lot of people aren't open to talking about how they feel, crying, expressing their emotions, because they're considered weak, or people look at them a certain way, and it's all how you were raised, and you can't cry or you can't show any emotion because that gives the enemy or the opponent a sense to attack, and you look weak and it's that and the third. But no, vulnerability is actually a superpower. You being able to talk about how you feel, you being able to show emotion, that you care about certain things. That's a superpower, vulnerability. And if people take advantage of your vulnerability, you just walk away, right? All right. So how to recognize generational trauma? Do you have high anxiety? Do you have mistrust of meeting new people, of being around people? Are you constantly depressed, in a sunken place? Things could always be going good for you, but you're constantly depressed. Do you have panic attacks? Are you always worried that something's going to go wrong? Do you fear death, like life ending? Do you have insomnia? You don't sleep. You're worried if you go to sleep, what's going to happen? Issues with self-esteem or self-confidence. Those are generational curses. One of my parents called me an ugly, cross-eyed bitch when I was 12 years old. And from then on there, I had a low self-esteem all the way up until I want to say 29 years old, where I let people say things to me. I let people call me names, and I never stood up for myself. And by the time I turned 29, it's all this anger built up inside of me because I never released how I felt, because I let people bully me. And, once I started getting confident in myself and believing in myself, that's when people became upset, because they were so used to me not believing in myself. So they wanted to find a way for me to feel insecure about myself. But I would never feel insecure about myself again, because I built myself up. And that's through the Most High and my meditations and me telling myself who I am. And I'm not letting people project on me anymore, right? That's how you deal with those issues. You got to recognize your trauma. A lot of us still do have high anxiety because of the situations that we've been in, and we're fearful of X, Y, and Z. And that's why we got to build things slow. I'm normally a fast moving person because I'm a fire sign. I'm always action oriented. I'm always taking action, and I'm learning to get more in that earth energy, grounded. like really grounded and rooted, planted. All right. And I've never been emotional. I have, like, I've always cried, but I've never been vulnerable with other people. And I do it a lot now because I can't help it. And the thing about it is that I believe that it causes a positive shift because it's people who haven't, like I said the other day, cried in years. And people need to know that it's okay with crying and showing their emotions and X, Y, and Z. And it doesn't matter what people say while you do these things. All right. So that's basically my talk for today. That's all I have for you guys. But it's like we got to recognize what's going on around us and being more aware of what's around us so we can make proper decisions. All right. Because look, life is a cycle and you'll keep on repeating the same patterns if you don't actually acknowledge the problems that you're having. Okay. All right. Let's close this out. All right, so we got the 4 wands. Yes, like building a happy foundation for yourself, a home, like a stable environment. Somebody may need to work on that. I'm hearing domesticated. All right. Teamwork. That's another thing a lot of people struggle with. Teamwork, especially when you're used to being like alone or you never received help. It's like something like that. Somebody may need to be able to accept help and teamwork and possibly how to communicate. The 8 of Wands. All right. Yeah, somebody needs to learn how to communicate more about what they want so you could become more stable emotionally. When you're stable emotionally, everything around you works out, okay? Somebody may need to release. There's something here somebody needs to release off of their heart so they could become more stable. Yeah, and taking responsibility, confessions, truths. All right, turning a new leaf. Somebody could be working on this right now here, being more truthful. There could be like a compulsive liar out there who, you know, some people say, well, I don't like to tell the truth because the truth hurts people. But I actually believe lies hurt people more, especially a person like me. I'm a person who likes people to be upfront and honest, right? Somebody lying to me and me finding out a lie, that hurts me much more than somebody who would have told the truth, all right? So we have had faith in your dreams and conclusions are within reach. Only know you can only obtain what you believe. I know I can be what I want to be. Surrender to the divine. If I work hard at it, I'll be where I want to be. All right. So somebody needs to loosen up with trying to be in control. You are in control of your future, right? But you can't control other people around you in their decision making. Somebody may need to work on this. All right. Because it could be somebody out there who likes to curse people when they don't get their way. And we not talking about people who do wrong, because it's like people like me, we know when something is done wrong, something's going to take place. You got to know when you do the wrong thing to the right people, especially people who are right, you know something's like bound to come. We got to expect the powerful change and bring love into the situation. Somebody needs to put a little love in their heart. All right. A lot of people can't show love these days because they never really received it, or the people who given it and they've been taken advantage of, they don't like to give it out. But just be slow and steady with how you give out your emotions, your love, your time, your energy, and everything here. Yeah, because in this season, it's like a lot of people asses is getting set on fire. Like their destructive ways are coming to the surface here. The things that people are doing, it's all coming to the light. But once it like comes to the light and people like can actually acknowledge what they're doing, how they've been operating, like it really comes to the light. And these people are able to sit with the things that they've been doing. That's when the ascension comes, rise. That's when you ascend. When you're able to take accountability and accept responsibility for the things that you've done, that's when things are going to change for you. All right. And that's for everybody there. That's even for myself, because y'all know I ain't perfect. I'm certainly not. All right. So spirit wants you guys to protect your energy. Spiritual hygiene. Don't let everybody have access to you, especially when you're working on yourself and doing good and you got people coming around you with a lot of trauma and drama, it's best to protect your energy from those people, okay? Because people go through their unfortunate events and cycles and things of that nature, and some people want to bring people into their karma and the things that they're dealing with, but we got to know when enough is enough, all right? Somebody's ancestors is giving somebody warnings here, and it could be about boundaries. You know, some people want to force trauma and, you know, force curses on us and things of that nature by lying and deceiving and things of that nature. So, y'all, that's all I have for you guys. This was just a teaching day. Take what resonates and leave it doesn't. If it doesn't resonate, it doesn't resonate. Take care, y'all.